Some thoughts on Trump and impeachment. This is a high-priority message to the citizens of the United States of America. Greetings, citizens. I am Anonymous, aka Yellow Revolt. Like any other person, I also have my own opinions on the ongoing impeachment circus that is in unfolding, and frankly I am entitled to my opinion. However, I will not exercise my entitlement, nor would I express my opinion. I will simply lay out some basic facts and back up the facts with actual evidence and leave it to you to judge. Americans are by nature humble and respectful. We don't go on street rampage over political disagreements, but that doesn't mean Americans don't have a voice. In fact they do, and they make their voice heard at the ballot box. That being said, I start with a question: if there were one president in the history of United States who had never ever lied, exaggerated, tried to spin, flip-flopped, got into arguments with the press, influenced changes, shaped outcomes, appointed controversial judges including executive branch employees, were surrounded in political, sexual, and financial scandals among personal scandals involving the president, and the president's immediate family. Nor there has been a president who refrained from invoking executive privileges. Further to above, presidents have declared wars, and sent our children to harm's way while keeping their own children away from military enlistments or deployments. Manufactured false evidence from CIA to win support from the citizens of America, Congress, the UN, and the world. Mishandled U.S. taxpayers' money to finance wars, military operations, and so-called rebuilding projects. Presidents ordering the military to fire missiles to another country to divert domestic heat. Let's pause. When did it exactly happen? Let me refresh your memory. It is Bill Clinton ordering missile hits to destroy Somalia's only medicine production facility during sex scandal. In recent past, kills by drones. Struggled with policy implementations like tax cuts, immigration, healthcare, disagreements over foreign policies, and the important one that is actively engaged with our prime adversary, which is Russia, among many other hosts of issues like gay marriage, legalization of cannabis, fighting opioid crisis, gun violence, job creating, rising cost of education, and the list goes on. Speaking of Russia, don't forget that the US and Russia fought a common enemy in Second World War. Irrespective of falling into the category of prime adversary, our presidents have had extended invitations to Russian presidents, hosted Russian ambassadors at the White House, engaged in one-to-one conversation, and also with the official delegations from both sides. One can ask, why would America host a foreign hostile adversary? The answer is simple. Russia is also a world power. U.S. presidents and Secretary of State engaged among host of security experts including military personnel and advisors talk with our prime adversary Russia in the context of diplomacy to negotiations, secure and advance America's geopolitical interests. This is a part where I question and lay out the facts for you to judge. In context of the above norms, when it comes to the president-elect, Donald J. Trump, why is it so difficult for career politicians, media, and the deep state machineries to accept the will and choice made by the citizens of the United States of America? By the way, I must add there are no independent media, they are all biased and have agendas aligned with different political organizations, including state machineries who feed them information in violation of the Code of Conducts. Anyways, let's focus on the why factor. Why? I must say, it was never difficult for the politicians, Republicans or Democrats, to accept Trump's donations or his money to show up in Trump's parties or ceremonies. And to be accurate, one such example is Hillary Clinton accepting $20,000 from Trump to show up at his marriage ceremony. Continuing. It was never difficult for the media including CNN to accept him as well. As a matter of fact, the media celebrated him for his successful television reality show, and enhanced branding of Trump, which he already was a brand, and trending, which the media were not shy to celebrate because they made money and for ratings. It was all cozy when Mr. Trump was a businessman. So, I wonder what has really changed. Let's pause. Trump is Trump. Trump has not changed, he is who he is. He is the poster child of WYSIWYG. Let's pause. What waterfall of WYSIWYG is? The terminology or acronym stands for what you see, is, what you get. What America saw in Trump, is exactly what America got and wanted. Unlike Democratic politicians, Donald J. Trump is not a two-faced liar. He has only face, and that is Trump and a sharp tongue. He is bold, and probably the only Twitter president. As a matter of fact, I must admit that this Twitter president is brilliant. His tweets are direct and keep his base synchronized. The fake news would not be able to censor his tweets and successes. He is a charismatic by nature, and has the courage to challenge the traditional wisdom. As a commander-in-chief, he has brilliant ideas on foreign policy matters. Let's pause. WTF am I taking about? Well, take a look at how he has contained the North Korea. North Korea and its leadership never kneeled before any US administrations, but Trump achieved the impossible. He met the North Korean leader, shook hands, and the North destroyed one of their nuclear facility. A very good start, wouldn't you agree, and recognize this achievement considering all previous administrations have failed and allowed North to advance their military and weapons manifesting capabilities. What did Obama do to contain the North? I leave some blanks and welcome anyone to fill it in. A war with the North could be disastrous, and will certainly reverse the clock of South Korea to Stone Age, and of course, in that process, the North will probably be wiped out from the face of the planet by Trump. Millions would die. I see Trump exercising his finest judgment here in spite of the fact that he was surrounded by war whacks at DC. He kept Iran in check and contained Iran from excreting its influence within its border by imposing financial sanctions. What did Obama did? Well, we all know that. Obama gave Iran a blank check which President Trump rightfully revoked. Continuing. Well, to start with, the presidency of Donald J. Trump has changed everything. When Trump got elected by the citizens of United States of America, it was a shockwave throughout the political establishments, including agenda-driven news and print media outlets, and I guess the shockwave was even felt by some high-level U.S. intelligence and counterintelligence officials, and the nation's top law enforcement officials. When Trump announced his candidacy, and ran for the election, he was literally ridiculed by the media and both parties, Democrats and Republicans, and these out-of-touch politicians never thought Trump, being an outsider, and I mean a complete outsider, would be elected by 60 million Americans. Politicians underestimated Trump from the very beginning, and why not? This is a person who never held any public office. None whatsoever. No political experience, and no political roots. The Republican establishment gave him ticket because of his money and frankly on the premise of what can possibly go wrong by letting Trump stand among other Republican candidates. They thought, giving Trump a platform could be a win-win situation. Money in one hand, entertainment and media attention. However, everything that could go wrong, went wrong. Although Trump was an outsider to the political theater, he was the insider too, and what I mean by saying insider, he was one of us. One of you. Unlike politicians, Trump employed thousands of Americans, and expanded his business throughout the world. He understood the America's core problem. He understood how the middle class were struggling to earn bread for their families. Unlike regular politicians who host carefully organized town hall meetings, Trump interacted with America in personal level, and America connected with Trump, and so did he. He addressed the core issues that mattered to the voters, and in the process, Trump overwhelmed his side of the candidates and secured his nomination from the Republican side. The Democrats literally celebrated the outcome because they thought he had no chance with Hillary until to the point the reality set in, and by that it was simply too late. It happened so fast, that the Democrats and Hillary's campaign was worried losing the election. What do they do about it? The unthinkable. They reach out to the incumbent president for help, and Obama, sharing common culture, didn't hesitate. Obama and his attorney general and his office directs FBI to investigate. FBI with the help of Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court put a U.S. citizen under surveillance. Let's pause. FBI puts a confirmed presidential rival of Hillary under surveillance with the help of an incumbent president, and why not help Hillary? She was her Secretary of State. Same party. A close friend of the Clintons. A friend in need is a friend indeed, and it was perfectly okay with the president, his advisors, his attorney general and the entire executive branch under him, and oh boy, no one thought of whistleblowing because it is all legit, right? 8 years is a long time to make alignments with the state organs. FBI not only places Trump and his team under surveillance, they taped phone conversations of key campaign personals including Trump and his family members. With the blessing of Obama, Trump's campaign was infiltrated. FBI is good at what it does, and in Trump's case, they had displayed outstanding performance and craftsmanship from the perspective of organizational capabilities. Some campaign officials were intimidated to wear FBI mic. Suddenly a clandestine operation was undergoing against the political rival of Hillary. Anyone suggesting otherwise is a traitor. If FBI was serious about Russian interferences, they would have made arrests. Instead, dirt were being dug as an insurance policy, and when there were none, they literally manufactured it. Although Trump and his team were inexperienced in the theater of politics, he had a good campaign message for the Americans. As I have said earlier, America connected with Trump. When Trump called on Russia and WikiLeaks to get Hillary's emails in front of the whole world, it simply confirmed his inexperience in politics. As I said, this person never held any public office. His political experience would be easily outmatched by a city councilor, and don't forget the fact that his campaign had 3 to 4 different campaign managers from the start to the very end. So, it is obvious that some mistakes would be made by him or his team, and frankly you can't blame him for that and bring up some campaign mistakes in 2019. But they did exactly that. Let's pause. The plan was hatched by Hillary and executed by Obama. From the very point Obama gave silent approval to go after Trump. Instead briefing Trump, they rolled back and allowed him to make mistakes even though they knew his intention and motives were simply innocent. I clearly recall during the presidential race between George W. Bush II and Al Gore, the State Department had to advise both candidates to notch it down when foreign policy debates got way overheated over China, Russia, Middle East, and Israel. They never gave such advice to Trump. Instead they infiltrated his inner circle, tapped his phone conversations, and 24/7 surveillance among manufacturing false dossier. Let's pause. Who the fuck in the world uses the word dossier? Americans don't. The word itself is foreign, so are the contents manufactured by a foreign intel or foreign actor. I thought it was against the law to meddle in US election. I thought a person had to register as foreign agent for that purpose. How did dossier find its way to FBI? The US Postal Service didn't do the delivery, nor did FedEx, or DHL. It got passed around by someone. Who is that person? We can say that FBI didn't take a flight to abroad to collect the dossier. Anyways, when Mr. Trump got elected as president, they all thought his presidency wouldn't even last 3 months considering the chaos in the White House. They thought his political inexperience will bring him down, and his policies would be disastrous, further to the fact he would have very hard time winning support for his policy implementations within the Republicans. And don't forget, some key Republicans didn't embrace Trump in the very beginning. Hatred against Trump ran so deep that John McCain, a respectful senator, didn't even want Trump to be present at his funeral service. By human nature it is difficult for a lot of people to accept the change, and as of today some continue to resist the change brought by 60 million US citizens, and by doing that, they are clearly showing a middle finger to 60 million Americans who voted for him. Nevertheless, Trump continues to disappoint some segments with his ongoing successes. Strong on immigration, strong on economy, outstanding job growth, investments, steady reserve, negotiations on trade, and security as a part of his campaign commitment America First. Trump walked the talk when it came down to the issue of Jerusalem, and continues to advance American interests in throughout the world, and to simply put it, he made political enemies out of his success. Democrats are completely shaken up. They see Trump as a runaway train, and they will do anything to stop him. It is a life and death situation for the Democrats. Americans voted Trump to take away their food, and they want it back, not because they earned it or it got stolen. They want it back because they think they are entitled to it, but the Americans think otherwise. It is clear that Mr. Trump will be re-elected again, and politicians, Democrats, will live another term in cold without gas and electricity. They don't have a candidate who can win American hearts over Trump. So, America, brace for impact. The impeachment gang will come back in a big way. In live televised hearings they will say anything, and you know what, if they can repeat the same lies 1 million times, over and over again, the perception of the Americans can shift, and this why Adam Schiff reads the same script in opening and closing of the hearing, and Republicans must not fall into this trap. If the Republicans can't question and cross-examine the whistleblower, and should the Democrats continue to hide him, the Republicans must walk out, because staying in will only legitimize the illegal impeachment committee, which will not follow stand rules and procedures. Anyone who is accused of wrongdoing has the right to defend himself. Allegations must be proven. The proof of burden is with committee. There must be credibility assessment of witnesses and the whistleblower. There must be transparency. It is simply basic. It is simple as you are innocent until proven guilty. It is ironic that the impeachment committee and the chair have made up their mind. The verdict is guilty under secret evidence. These desperate Democrats will stop at nothing, and in the process, they will destroy the American democracy and weaken America at its core. Republicans have a duty to save America and ensure continuation of democracy and uphold the rule of law. They must walk out of the impeachment committee, as the committee has lost credibility and neutrality. Without the Republicans, the impeachment committee doesn't mean anything, and by doing so Republican will ensure the power to elect and remove from the office is given back to the citizens. Some questions need addressing and require thorough and diligent investigation. Why did Obama instruct FBI to help Hillary? Who approached whom? Names and designations of the other actors who participated in this criminal conspiracy. How come Russian diplomats and spies were deported under Donald J. Trump? Why didn't Obama do anything? Why would Obama have a one-to-one private meeting and make a promise to Russian PM/president about making deals after the election? Who the hell gave him that mandate? Wait, the president sets the foreign policy in the best interests of America, right? There is no collusion there. Ha! Shouldn't the same standard be applicable for President Trump? Why would Obama expose outspace technology by working with Russia and use Russian space capsule? Why would Obama and NASA official knowingly put American astronauts in harm? Why were the intel agencies silent? Why? Russia annexed Crimea under Obama's watch. Russians spied under Obama's watch. The so-called Russian meddled happened under Obama's watch. Why didn't they take any action? ICE or the terrorists gained lands after lands under Obama's watch. How come it was Trump who went after ICE and destroyed the terror leadership? Why is it that the Trump administration passed a resolution against Russia for annexing Crimea, and yet he is being accused of being a Russian agent? Why would a Russian agent impose more sanctions on Russia than any previous US president and administration? Why did Obama admin dispatched military help to save the US ambassador in Benghazi? How big is this conspiracy circle? Did Adam Schiff and Nadler and Nancy among other were present in the conspiracy meeting? Did they talk with Hillary about it or to Mr. Obama? Do they think it is wrong to investigate candidate Trump for political advantage? Did Adam solicit White House leaks? How come leaks after leaks are flowing out from within the Trump's inner circle are the layer around him? In Washington, D.C., use of speed radar signal detector is prohibited, which is widely used in vehicles throughout the country. So, I must ask, how is it possible to record Trump's phone call to Reza? What kind of device was used to record the president's call? Who supplied that device? What role did the former FBI director Comey play? DNC claims their server was hacked. Why didn't FBI look into it? Why was the job outsourced to a private security firm? What made the decision to outsource the investigation? Was FBI denied access? We know that DNC filed a complaint with FBI but didn't allow them to look into it. Then I must question, was the motive behind filing a complaint when the nation's top agency is not allowed to investigate? Was DNC trying to hide something? Why is that Mueller's investigation and repost doesn't implicate the President-elect Donald J. Trump? Why did Obama pardon Chelsea Manning? What signal does it send to our Intel Committee? How and when and why did Biden's son accepted a job and earned more than millions of US dollars? Did Biden know about his son's job? Did he solicited Ukrainian official to give his son a job when his son? Out of so many unemployed Americans, including unemployed Ukrainians, how is it that only Biden's son gets a job offer and accepts it? Why did Biden hold up aid? It's about time to start asking questions. The best defense is the best offense, and that process the truth will come out. In conclusion, some thoughts on obstruction. Obstruction is a serious crime. From day one of Mr. Donald J. Trump's presidency, Democrats have been obstructing the president-elect from discharging his presidential duties that is expected of him by the citizens of United States America. So, there should a new investigative body with clear mandate to investigate the obstruction gang and furthermore, investigate conspiracy to overthrow an elected president. When Donald J. Trump ran for the office, the Obama administration instructed FBI to put Trump under surveillance during the presidential campaign to give political advantage to Hillary Clinton. Isn't the Democrat accusing the president of same thing? The answer is yes, but there are fundamental differences. 1. This is not an election year. 2. There are no presidential campaigns. 3. Joe Biden is not a confirmed Democratic candidate, but Trump was during the last election. 4. The president has the right and duty to withhold any U.S. aid if there are concerns of corruption, and there is. Note, Biden did the same, but the difference is his son and the employer were under investigation. Some would argue, well, Biden had nothing to hide because he said it openly. That is B.S., but if we accept that openness factor, then take this ultimate fact into consideration, which is, the president-elect was not secretive in his phone call. There was more than a dozen of specialists who listened in, and in the history of United States of America, he is the only sitting president who has released the transcript of the call. By the way, presumptions, assumptions, and interpretations, he said, she said, they said, I heard from Joe, and Joe was told by Nan, and Nan read it in New York, and New York published a story citing anonymous official are not admissible in any court in any part of the world. So, to build a case on these categories are simply stupid, and absolutely crazy. As I have said in the begging, I will not give my opinion, I have simply raised some valid questions and concerns.